In a hole in the ground, there lived a hobbit. Not a nasty, dirty, wet hole, but a hobbit hole, and that means comfort. This hobbit was named Bilbo Baggins, and he lived a quiet, unadventurous life in the Shire until the day the wizard Gandalf came knocking on his door. Gandalf proposed an adventure, much to Bilbo's dismay. Soon after, 13 dwarves, led by the noble Thorin Oakenshield, arrived at Bilbo's door. Overwhelmed but hospitable, Bilbo hosted them, and they spoke of reclaiming their home, the Lonely Mountain, from the dragon's maw. Bilbo, initially reluctant, was eventually persuaded to join as a burglar, drawn by the promise of adventure and treasure. The journey began, and Bilbo quickly realized the perils of the outside world. They encountered trolls, which Gandalf outwitted, allowing the party to acquire the trolls' treasure, including a pair of enchanted swords. Bilbo's sword, small and perfect for a hobbit, he named Sting. Travelling through the lands of Rivendell, they sought counsel from Elrond, the wise elf lord. Elrond revealed the secret moon letters on Thorin's map, showing a hidden passage into the Lonely Mountain. The path was treacherous, taking them through the misty mountains. While sheltering in a cave, the party was captured by goblins. In the chaos, Bilbo was separated and stumbled upon a creature named Gollum. They played a game of riddles, with Bilbo's life at stake. Bilbo, winning the game, discovered a precious ring that made its wearer invisible. Using the ring, Bilbo escaped, reuniting with the dwarves who had been rescued by Gandalf. The company encountered more challenges as they ventured into the Mirkwood forest. Here, Gandalf departed on urgent business, leaving them with warnings to stay on the path and avoid the enchanted river. The forest was dark, eerie, and full of spiders. Bilbo proved his bravery and resourcefulness by saving the dwarves from the spiders using Sting. However, the troubles were far from over. The party was then captured by wood elves. Bilbo, using his ring, remained unseen and discovered the elves' weakness for wine. He devised a plan, freeing the dwarves from the elves' dungeons by hiding them in barrels, which were then floated down the river to Lake Town. Arriving at Lake Town, the humans, descendants of the original people of Dale, welcomed the company, believing in an old prophecy that the return of the king under the mountain would bring prosperity. Bilbo and the dwarves rested, resupplied, and gained the support of the Lake Town people. As Bilbo Baggins and the company of dwarves continued their journey towards the Lonely Mountain, the air grew colder and the landscape more desolate. The looming mountain, with the dragon Smaug slumbering inside, was ever present in their thought. Thorin Oakenshield, the dwarven leader, grew more determined and restless as they neared their ancestral home. Upon reaching the mountain, they discovered the hidden door, as foretold by the map's moon letters. After some difficulty, Bilbo, the designated burglar, was tasked with entering the mountain. Inside, he encountered the awe-inspiring and terrifying Smaug, a creature of legend sleeping amidst mountains of gold. Using his wit and the power of the One Ring to remain unseen, Bilbo conversed with Smaug, unwittingly revealing information about Lake Town. Smaug, cunning and wrathful, realized that the men of Lake Town might be aiding his enemies. Enraged, he decided to unleash his fiery wrath upon the unsuspecting town. Meanwhile, Gandalf the wizard, who had left the company before entering Mirkwood, was embroiled in his own quest. He uncovered a sinister plot involving the necromancer at Dol Guldur, realizing that this evil was a greater threat than they had imagined. This revelation hinted at the return of a long-forgotten darkness to Middle-earth. Back in Lake Town, the townspeople, led by Bard the Bowman, prepared for the oncoming threat. They had long feared the dragon's wrath, and now they braced themselves for the worst. Bard, a descendant of the Lords of Dale, discovered his ancestral black arrow, the only weapon capable of piercing the dragon's scales. Smaug, attacked Lake Town with fury, breathing fire and causing destruction. Amidst this chaos, Bilbo and the dwarves could only watch in horror from the mountain. In a heroic effort, Bard, using the Black Arrow and his last ounce of courage, struck Smaug in his only vulnerable spot, a missing scale on his underbelly. The mighty dragon fell from the sky, crashing into the lake and bringing an end to his reign of terror. The death of Smaug, however, brought new troubles. News of the dragon's demise and the treasure, now unguarded, spread quickly. Various forces, including men from Lake Town, elves from Mirkwood, led by King Thranduil, and dwarves from the Iron Hills, led by Dane, gathered at the Lonely Mountain, each laying claim to a share of the treasure. Thorin, consumed by dragon sickness due to the vast wealth and the fabled Arkenstone, a symbol of his right to kingship, refused to share the treasure. This greed and stubbornness led to a standoff, with Bilbo caught in the middle, trying to find a peaceful solution. The story took a dark turn as tensions rose, setting the stage for a great conflict, known later as the Battle of the Five Armies. This battle would not only determine the fate of the treasure, but also the future of Middle-earth. Thorin, succumbing to the dragon sickness, becomes obsessed with finding the Arkenstone, unaware that Bilbo, in an attempt to avert war, has secretly given it to Bard and Thranduil as a bargaining chip. The tension culminates in a standoff, with Bilbo's actions causing him to fall out of favour with Thorin. However, a greater danger looms. Azog the Defiler, an orc warlord, leads a vast army of orcs and goblins towards the Lonely Mountain, intent on destruction. Gandalf arrives, warning all parties of the approaching danger. The elves, men, and dwarves, realizing the need for unity against this common foe, form an alliance. The Battle of the Five Armies ensues, a colossal and brutal conflict. Elves, men, and dwarves fight valiantly against the orcs and goblins. Bilbo, wearing the One Ring, witnesses the horrors of war. Thorin, overcoming his madness, joins the battle, leading a charge that shifts its course. In the midst of battle, Thorin confronts Azog in a final showdown. The combat is fierce and deadly. Thorin mortally wounds Azog, but is gravely injured himself. Fili and Kili, Thorin's nephews, meet their end defending him, adding to the tragedy of the conflict. As the battle reaches its climax, the Eagles arrive, along with Bern in bear form, turning the tide in favour of the Free Peoples. The Orc armies are defeated, but the cost is high. The battlefield is strewn with casualties, a sombre reminder of the cost of greed and conflict. Thorin, on his deathbed, reconciles with Bilbo, expressing regret for his actions and praising Bilbo's bravery and wisdom. The Battle of the Five Armies ends, marking a turning point in the history of Middle-earth. In the aftermath, Bilbo returns to the Shire, forever changed by his adventures. He finds the Shire untouched by the war, a stark contrast to the changed world outside. Bilbo's return marks the end of his journey, but the beginning of a larger story that continues in the tales of Middle-earth. He treasures his memories and friendships, particularly with Gandalf and the dwarves. The Hobbit concludes with Bilbo Baggins, once a simple hobbit, now a seasoned adventurer, reflecting on his journey and the lessons learned about bravery, loyalty, and the complexity of the world beyond his hobbit home.